Welcome back to the Wolf Market Madness podcast. We're here with Dividend Seeker. Is it at Dividend_Seeker on Twitter?
That's me. Yep. Thanks for having me, guys.
_dollar at Dividend_dollar, username Dividend Seeker. This is the page to go to on multiple social medias if you are trying to build wealth long term. If you're trying to understand how to manage your risk and maximize your returns, and you want to become a part of the wealth seeking pack, you need to go give this guy a follow. I'm very excited to have him in here talking today. Welcome in to the Market Madness podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
100%. So let's start off. What is your champion in this tournament?
So I'm going to go with I always love a good underdog story. So I'm going to go with one of my, top 5 holdings that I personally have in my account, and that is ABBV. So it's kind of a stock that it's in the pharmaceutical space, and it's a big dividend play that I've had for a number of years, and think they continue to have a bright future.
Definitely. Drew, you got some questions on ABBV?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of break down for us, maybe we haven't heard too much about this play. What fundamentals stick out to you about this stock and make you so interested to make it one of your biggest holdings?
Sure. Yeah. Great question. With ABBV, so they kind of spun off from Abbott Laboratories. If you guys had ever followed them before, this was kind of their pharmaceutical brand, and their big home run hitter was Humira. That was their big drug. It kind of carried the weight for the stock for a number of years, but overseas now, that patent protection has gone away. So you've kind of seen their revenue, their sales for Humira, their flagship product, kind of fall off, and that's been a concern for a lot of investors for a number of years. But the thing with ABBV is, they have a strong pipeline of products that are kind of coming up through the pipeline. Some are already, have had FDA approval, and they're starting to carry their weight as well. So it's not going to be a one product company like it has been in the past. It's going to be a group of various products that are kind of going to carry their weight and do what Humira did on its own. There is some prospects that some of these drugs can be flagship as well. One of the exciting things with ABBV is they have a strong pipeline, but they're also trading at, a reasonable valuation. You get high yield. So you can get some growth with ABBV. You can get some high yield dividends, and you get dividend growth, which is, 3 things I'm always looking for as an investor.
Wow. Yeah. It sounds like a good overall pick. Definitely excited to see how it does against, a really strong player as well. Do you foresee any long-term or any short-term movements for this stock of yours? It sounds like they've got a great pipeline coming on. It sounds like they already have a pretty decent valuation. What do you think is going to happen short-term, long-term for this stock?
So I think with them, investors are always going to have their eyes on Humira and how they're doing overseas. That continues to be, their revenue over there continues to slowly bleed off, but things are still holding up in the US. They have patent protection until 2023, so it still gives them time to bring these newer drugs up to speed. And then they also made a recent acquisition, which they closed last year with Botox leader in the Botox leader, and they bring those guys on. It's been less than a year now, so they're going to incorporate that. But it's really good. There's going to be the number of new drugs that are coming through the pipeline. They've partnered with Johnson & Johnson on a couple, and then they've done a lot on their own. So so I think they have that patent protection with Humira through 2023, and the dividend is going to continue to grow. Cash flows are strong, so I continue to expect things to continue to improve for the company.
Definitely. Sounds like there's a lot going on. Is there any one thing that kind of strikes you, when you first looked at this stock that said, well, maybe I should really look into this, or that's the reason why I'm holding this stock if the market goes up, down, or in circles?
With them, it's always, you'll get these valuation. You'll compare these guys to, you compare them to Pfizer if you want. You can compare them to Johnson & Johnson. And the thing that always sticks out with ABBV is you're going to get strong cash flows from them. So if you look at their free cash flow, but you're also going to, when you look just simple PE metrics, if you look at forward metrics, these guys are usually trading somewhere around single digits. And then you look at someone like a Johnson & Johnson, who I love actually as well also, but they're going to be well above that. you're going to have someone like Pfizer who's going to be somewhere around 15 times. So what I'm getting with AbbVie in terms of revenue growth, what I believe in the pipeline, I've done a lot of research on these, Skyrizi, Rinvoku, a lot of these other drugs that are coming up through the pipeline, and knowing that Humira is still a game changer. It's not something that's just going to completely fall off. It's the #1 selling drug in the world for a reason. And, people are still going to be looking to take this, and there's still, like I mentioned, that patent protection through 2020 or 2023 here in the US for them. So they know when the date is coming, they know when things are going to fall off, in terms of revenue a little bit. So they have plenty of time to get up to speed.
Yeah, I'll ask one more question to turn it right over to Gav. I know he's got some awesome sentimental questions. Vaccines and like biotech, such an interesting point in my eyes, right? I did not invest too big into these biotechs. Do you foresee some type of distribution kind of leveling off as maybe the Johnson & Johnson, the BioNTechs kind of deflate post-COVID vaccine, maybe into stock like this?
Definitely. I haven't seen the big boost that I was, hoping for. I'm not a Pfizer shareholder, but I would have thought they would have gotten a little bit of boost. Johnson & Johnson ran up to somewhere around, I want to say they hit their all-time high, but have kind of just flooded off from there. And they're actually trading, at a reasonable valuation as well. But again, even when that stock price has, come back down to earth, AbbVie is still something that's much cheaper. And I'm getting the dividend growth, and I'm going to get a 5% plus yield.
Awesome. Gav, want to talk about your questions?
Yeah, definitely. So my first thing that I do want to point out is that AbbVie is actually one of the companies that I did earlier research on, actually back in 2018 when I was working at Goldman. I was researching that for my team to make purchases and looking, and I was noticing actually at the time, one of the things I wrote in my report was just how much of their revenue was dependent on Humira.
Yeah.
And how in order to succeed, they needed to actually build a pipeline for their products. And now this is kind of like the first time I've actually talked to anyone about it since. I did research about 3 years ago. So it's super interesting to hear that from that analyst perspective. But for anyone that's unfamiliar with the Market Madness tournament, the way that this goes is it's not based off stock return. Rather, it's essentially a popularity contest for the stocks. So we have to look at the social sentiment of these stocks on social platforms to understand how much hype is there around them, how many people are going to come make a vote for them. So the first round matchup here is AbbVie versus Berkshire Hathaway. So talk to me about the social sentiment surrounding AbbVie, maybe some other big players that you think might get behind it, might push it, throw some retweets on it, and could give it that push that it needs to get past a monolith like Berkshire.
That is a tough first round matchup, and I see why I have a 15 seed in AbbVie, but I'm always for the underdog, and I love it. So, with Berkshire, it's again a top 5, top 7 position for myself as well. So it's hard to, pick against one another. But with Berkshire, it's almost like an ETF with how many positions they own. You're going to have a big holding in Apple. So you can go out and vote for Apple. So there's your Apple vote. So let's go for AbbVie right here. Let's go for the underdog. You're going to get your Buffett likes collecting dividends, but he's not going to pay a dividend through Berkshire. So let's get your high yield dividend. Let's get some dividend growth, and let's go with AbbVie.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, it's a very funny point that you make about how we never will pay the dividend on Berkshire.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we threw up a couple videos of Buffett onto our TikTok the other day, and someone in the comments was like, "Yeah, of course he's talking about calculating dividends, but he'll never give us one."
That's right.
So he's a smart man, Buffett. So let's talk strategy real quick. Overall, from the bracket, you've had the chance to take a look at it. What is your strategy going to be filling out this bracket?
So, like you guys had mentioned, it is a popularity contest, and we got some great stocks on here. Based on, and cryptos based on popularity and, just high quality stocks. You got your Johnson & Johnson. So I'm just looking at the AbbVie bracket, and if we can somehow get past Berkshire, you got Boeing, who has had their number of issues the last, year or two. IBM, a little bit long in the tooth per se. So I think if we can somehow get past Berkshire, I think AbbVie, with that dividend growth, you're going to get high yield. Come on, folks, you got, an 8 PE. We're in the single digits here. It's half of what, something like Johnson & Johnson, which I love, and we're in the same bracket. So maybe we can get to a, Elite 8 and match up with Johnson & Johnson there. But in terms of the other brackets, I'm I'm with Jonah. I'm a big fan of DermTech. You know, I like what they're doing. I'm a fair-skinned individual, so I visit the dermatologist a lot, and I would love to, you know, rub a sticker on myself rather than, you know, getting things cut out of me. So I'm for DermTech, and I'll be voting for them. C Limited against Apple, that's a tough one because I'm, you know, a big, that's one I've kind of circled there, but you know, I love what C's doing, and you know, in the gaming industry and their, you know, financial services industry, their e-commerce, and you know, the growth that they see over there. So, you know, I think this is a great idea, and you know, let's go AbbVie.
100%. Now, you just kind of went over the board. Are there any underdogs, perhaps, maybe a low seed, or maybe it's a middle range seed that you think could surprise the world? A backing comes out, maybe their CEO throws a retweet on that one, who knows? And they just kind of take by a storm. They make it maybe Final Four. Maybe they win it all, but they make it farther than people expect.
Well, I'm hoping AbbVie. I'm a 15 seed, so let's take them all the way. But looking at the rest of the board, some underdogs. I mean, you can't discount Penn. You never know what, you know, President Portnoy is going to do, and he could throw a retweet behind that, and you know, things could take off. He could take his clan and take Penn National all the way to the Final Four. So, you know, you can never underestimate what he does there. You know, something like, you know, Virgin Galactic can go there, but you never know with these cryptos either. And Dogecoin, you know, for, you know, a month ago, here I am calling it Dogcoin, and I've been corrected a number of times because, you know, these things are paying at pennies, and but they got a big following. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely kind of all over the place. So Drew, anything else you would like to kind of dig into?
Yeah, I've asked this question to a few people. What stocks do you want to just get right off this bracket? You want them to lose. You're just like, why are they even on this bracket? How can we get them off? What stock, if any, you know, if there's none, definitely that's okay too, stick out to you and say, like, let's take the L for this guy?
What stocks do I want to get off this bracket?
Like, you got to take the L in the first round.
I would love for GameStop to take an L in the first round. Let's just get rid of the GameStop madness. I mean, if we're being serious here, they're the Blockbuster of video games. So let's get rid of the Blockbuster.
They have a strong 15 seed that they're playing.
Yeah, Neo is insanely strong.
Yep, Neo's getting my vote. So let's get them off the board. And obviously Berkshire, let's get them out of the way, and let's move AbbVie on forward. Who else would I want to get out of here? Let's get you know, let's get some of these high interest ARK ETFs out of the way. You know, they can be dangerous. So I would love to get them out of the way as well. You know, I see ARKK sitting there with a number 1 seed. You know, they're going to be tough.
Definitely. And then my next question, it will be my final question. You talked about crypto a little bit. Bitcoin surpassed 60K today. Big day for the blockchain boys. Any other crypto that I know you talked about Dogecoin, you know, Ethereum's on here as well. Do you foresee any of these stocks going all the way, or maybe do you want any of them to go all the way? Like, what's your kind of insight? Do you like Bitcoin or any of that stuff, or not really? Not really.
I don't have any cryptos in my side of the bracket here with AbbVie, do I? So I'm just,
yeah, all the cryptos are on top left.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
Zoomer.
They're all together. You know, I do have a position in Bitcoin. It's something where, you know, it was hard early on to kind of, you know, you put a value on it and do research, but it was really just kind of get an understanding of what this is, and you can kind of see the disruption it's making. So I just started, you know, throwing a couple $100 every week to it, and when I see dips, you know, just another couple $100. It's actually kind of built up to be a sizable position in my portfolio. It's still, you know, towards the bottom half of things, but nearing as it just continues to grow. You know, like you mentioned, over 60K. It's unbelievable, and it's something that I kind of just, you know, throw in there, throw with money, little extra side money that I have, and you know, I have a lot of friends that invest in Ethereum also. You know, when I first started learning about this stuff, I had a coworker that was talking to me about these crypto kitties, and I thought this was just complete nonsense. And she's telling me how she's, you know, using Ethereum to buy these things, and now they're going for, you know, thousands of dollars. So who's the one laughing now? I guess she is. So she was on it early, and so yeah, I mean, but in terms of what I have exposure to it, I do have some Bitcoin that I've, you know, continue to throw you know, $200 to $500 to every, you know, couple of weeks or so if I see a pullback. So nothing right now at 60K though.
Awesome. Very awesome. Unfortunately, no NFTs in this bracket. Maybe next year.
Yeah, we'll see how they do over the course of the year. I guess before we wrap up, obviously we'd love to get this out to your audience, to our audience. Is there anything you would like to say to your audience?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm always, appreciative to everyone that follows me and all the folks that I'm able to connect with. That's one of the best things about social media is being able to connect with various different folks that you would never just, walk up to. And there's people all over the world. And, if you're looking for more help, I have a side business as well. You reach out to me at Russin Financial, ROUSSIN financial.com. And, you can connect with me there as well. I'm also on Instagram at Russin_financial. So that's another, great spot to connect with me there. So thank you guys. And I appreciate it.
100%. Thank you to everyone who listened. This was our 6th episode of the Market Madness podcast. The guests just keep getting better. We keep having more fun conversations, and we are so excited for this tournament, which is launching on Monday the 15th. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording here. Thanks for being an awesome guest.